So there we go. I see we have a couple of people joining us. So with that, welcome to today's webinar that we have titled How to Go Viral on LinkedIn Without Spending Hours Writing Posts That Go Nowhere. So since we're very, very early on, we're going to still give this a couple of minutes before so people can jump on, get settled, maybe grab a bottle of water or a glass of water, bring out your notes, stuff like that. We're going to give people some time to get settled. But what I want to start with is I would love to hear in the chat where people are chiming in from. So in the chats down below, type in where are you listening in from, if you're in Europe, if you're out of Asia, if you're in the States. Like would love to um, really hear more about like where people are coming from. So Portland, Oregon, Houston, Texas. So we're seeing Norway, UK, and there are a bunch of you guys here in as well. Sunny Cornwall, UK, Dubai, India. We have quite a nice split from all over, really. Canada, New York, Texas again. Mike, nice to see you here as well. Yeah. So what we're gonna do is I think we can get into it. So to start off with, we have set aside 1.5 hours. Hopefully, we're not going to spend that. What we're going to aim for, Lindsay and I, we had a bit of a chat before this. We want to aim this to be around 45 to 60 minutes. So us going through the slides, depending on how many, let's say, interactions and how quick you guys are on your feet to respond back when we're going to ask you some questions. But that's what we're going to aim for. And then we're going to have a Q&A at the end. So if you have questions, I'm going to tell this in a bit as well. If you have questions that you want us to answer, we have a dedicated Q&A slot at the end. If you have questions, down below you will see a button that says Q&A. So if you click that and submit it, we're going to then look at those questions that are submitted at the end. So if you have any questions, drop them into the Q&A, and then we're going to take it from there. So with that, I think we can get to it. So the goal of today is really to cover a whole lot of things. So the first thing that we want to cover is we want to cover a bit about why a lot of companies are struggling. Because LinkedIn, you probably know this does work, but how the heck do you get it to work? Most companies doesn't have an expertise problem. They have what we call a visibility problem because they might be really genuinely good at what you do. And I kind of think that every one of you guys that are with us today, you're really good at what you do. You have clients that can vouch for you. You have good results with what you actually do. But there might be a case where a lot of people and a lot of your ideal customers don't know that you even exist. And that is the core problem. And that is one of the reasons why LinkedIn might actually be a perfect thing for you to look at today. So there are a couple of things here, and that is you have people that are far worse than you, that have a worse deliverable, worse service, worse product, where you are superior in any way in terms of expertise, quality, client results, all of these things that are more successful than you. The reason for that is that they're more visible than you. It's not the company that has the best product that wins. It's the product or the company that has the best marketing, that are the most visible to their target audience. And that is what we want to do and address today. So the real thing that the market really rewards is if you have a good expertise, you are visible, and you do that in a repeated way, that ends up building trust and predictability and consistency to your marketing. But if you lack any of those three, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to feel like you're banging your head towards the wall and you don't really move anywhere. And throughout this webinar, we're going to go into is more the mechanics that we used in 2025 to get more than 15 million impressions on LinkedIn post 1,861 times, and I spent maybe an hour a day max, maybe probably like 3 hours a week on doing that. And we drove 65,000 leads. So that's the grounding in what we're sharing today. So the thing is, we want to have our expertise, make that visible in a repeated way, and that's how you're going to win using LinkedIn. And the thing that we usually see as a cycle when we've looked at LinkedIn really since 2016, 2017, is that people think that, okay, I can post, then I don't really see anything. You end up getting frustrated, and then you stop doing it. The thing is, LinkedIn is not the thing that you should rely on as a one-off wonder. It's something that needs consistency. But we're going to share how to not spend and say, congratulations, you have now 40 more hours to spend a week to then doing LinkedIn. That's not what we're going to go into. But the thing with LinkedIn is that you need a system around the content. So for this is one thing I bet that you've seen. You probably come across us doing this thing as well. And that is the comment X to get it type of post on LinkedIn. So quickly, I want comment yes in the chat if you've seen these types of posts before. And if you might think that, oh, I'm not sure if this is going to work. So Bob, I see you're commenting yes. Tony commenting yes. Dustin commenting yes. And I bet that a lot more of you guys are going to comment yes as well in terms of you've seen these types of posts. The thing is, you might think that these are actually not going to work. And I don't really want to be that person doing those types of posts. And I get it. It has a bit of a bad rep. And there are reasons for it. And that is that people do it in the wrong way. One thing to also put note of regarding LinkedIn is that LinkedIn is not a posting platform. It's a visibility and demand layer. So I want you to change the glasses you have on and start viewing LinkedIn differently, because this is not about just posting on LinkedIn. This is how LinkedIn is a part of a bigger chain that makes LinkedIn the source of consistent, sustainable, and predictable demand for your company. So there's more to this than just let's do posting on LinkedIn. And also the title of this webinar is going viral on LinkedIn. And I just want to calibrate what we mean by virality. So the thing is, in B2B, how we see virality is it doesn't mean that we get 1 million impressions, which you can still get it, but that's not the purpose or the meaning behind going viral. The meaning behind going viral is that you have the right market, the right people see you time and time and time again, and they build a level of familiarity with you. They remember you, and they start associating you with a problem that you actually solve. And to do that, you need a system. So it's way better for you to be able to reach 500 of the ideal people you want to reach instead of reaching 5,000. Because if those 500 see you time and time and time again, they start remembering you for what you do and what they can get by consuming the content that you have, but also working with you. You can actually have something tangible of a output and result if they keep on following you or working with you. And again, as I mentioned in the very beginning, we are going to have a Q&A at the end. And the reason why I'm mentioning it again, because we had more people actually join. So throughout this webinar, if you have questions, if you have things that you want either Lindsay or myself to go more into, drop them in the Q&A and we're going to answer those at the very end. One thing as well is that at the very end, before the Q&A, we're going to give you guys access to a bonus since you have attended the webinar, which is the system for going viral on LinkedIn and the underlying things that we do to be able to do that. We use a lot of prompts and systems for it. As an attendee, you're going to get access to a bonus if you stay with us until the Q&A that is going to allow you to get those prompts and those systems sent to you by email in about 1.5 hours from now, just a bit more than that. So if you stick around, you're going to get that, but it's only for those that stick around. So to then go into this, I want to play a bit of a game, like a true or false game with you guys. And are you guys ready for it? Because now I'm going to ask you to comment things in the chat, and I want you to be really engaged and answer either T for true or F for false as quickly as possible. Are you all ready for that? Just comment yes in the chat so that I know that you guys are on, so that we can then ensure that we go through this quickly instead of wasting a lot of time waiting around. So yes, 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 yep, yep, yep. Okay, good. So first question, true or false? Your niche needs to be exciting, sexy, and hot for LinkedIn to work. Comment true or false down in the chat. F, false, false, false. Some are true, false, 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 false. So the answer to that, and this is how quickly we're going to go. So the answer to that is false. The reason why I wanted to start with that is because a lot of people that we've talked to, a lot of clients that we've had and companies that we've consulted had thought that they needed to have something that is sexy as AI is, since that's a gold rush today. You don't. Like, we've seen super success in any sort of vertical and system, because the key thing is you want the right people to see what you have. This is independent of you if you rely on inbound, outbound, and what you sell. Everything is you need the right people to see you, and then you don't really need to have something that has a grand mass appeal and a huge total addressable market. So next question, true or false? If you are inconsistent in your posting, it's mainly because you have a discipline problem. True or false down in the chat. So true, true, false, 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 true, true, false, true, strategy problem, false, true, true. Okay, that is interesting, because now we're starting to see that there's a more of a split between those of you who think that it's true and more of those that think that it is false. The actual answer here is that it's false. Discipline is one thing, but discipline means that you have a lack of a system. So one thing is that if you have the right system around posting on LinkedIn, you don't need to be disciplined, because the system is built to cope for your varying discipline. We're all varied in terms of how disciplined we are on a daily basis. You need the system. We're going to go into what that system is and what they can actually do later in this webinar. Next question. One great post should create customers by itself. True or false down in the chat now, and I'm going to see what you guys answer. So false, 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 true, true, false, true. Okay. So you guys are leaning more towards false than true. That's interesting. And those of you that said false, you're right, because everything becomes a system. If you approach LinkedIn as I post on LinkedIn and that should drive clients, you're going to be severely disappointed in the long run, because then ends up happening is that you post and you hope that you can squeeze that lemon as much as you can in a very short period, but only a certain amount of people are ready to take action now. So you need a system on the back of your posting so that you can actually capture the attention and everything that post and the posts that you post over time are actually generating. So a system is the thing, and it should not be like the post itself generating clients. One final true or false, going viral on LinkedIn in B2B means millions of views. Now, this is a bit of a trick question because we've already addressed this in the beginning. So you guys are saying false, 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 false. Right, so you've been paying attention, so I like that. So it's a bit of a trick question as a very final one. So really, by the end of this webinar, what you're going to have learned and know is how to turn your expertise into something that are LinkedIn posts that can perform, that builds your authority, positions you as the go-to credible source for what you're posting about, and creating inbound demand. And the system is not going to then require you to spend hours upon hours writing things from scratch. That is my big promise to you by the end of this webinar. So you will learn a couple of secrets. So Lindsay is going to cover a whole bunch of these secrets in just a bit, but you're going to learn why content on LinkedIn fails. You're going to learn how to ensure that you have something that is relevant to our market. You're going to learn how one insight and one thing and a piece of your expertise and turn that into assets, and how all of this connects to actual business outcomes and demand pipeline meetings for your company. So those are the things that we will touch upon in this webinar. And again, if you stay until the very end, one thing that we're going to touch upon is the Canvas workflow, which is one of the process that we go through to actually build all of this for Bureau that resulted in 1,800 posts on LinkedIn last year, 65,000 leads, and a bunch of meetings. So that you can feel that LinkedIn goes from being something that is random, like you feel like posting, you do post, it's a bit random, to something that is systematic. Because what you do is that for LinkedIn to truly be a successful platform for you and your company over time, you need to have a system in place, and it's a systematic approach in doing it the right way. Just very short to that, one of the things that we do is that we sit in a bit of an intersection between generating demand, using content, system, and automation. And this is the thing that allows us to actually do this and also talk about this. Because we are doing this across clients, ourselves, and as mentioned, last year we got 15 million impressions, 180,000 comments on LinkedIn, which is mind-boggling as the very, like, in just short 1 year. 65,000 leads, 500 meetings, 170 resources and assets created. And we also helped a bunch of clients do this. So we know what is it that work to drive virality on LinkedIn, but do it in a way that creates demand. Because if you just post and you rely on that, you're leaving money on the table. There's very few other people that talk about this on LinkedIn to what do you need to have at the back of your posting on LinkedIn. So you have Jason, you have Alexandra, you have Paul, you have Eva, that with just one post for IT, like operation systems for IT, got like 1,500 comments over a span of a weekend. So there's a lot of different niches and industries that this work for. You have even more. You have James, you have Trevor, you have Felix, you have Leonard, you have Robert. Like there's a lot of companies and people that we worked with that has just taken the blueprint that we have for posting on LinkedIn and seen great results with it. And the thing here is companies that win are not the ones that have the most interesting niche, as we talked about. It doesn't need to be sexy. It needs to be something that is useful. You need to take your expertise into something that is visible, repeatable, and useful to the market. And the way we do that is creating educational content for your market, rooted in your expertise. So a bit before we dive into the next, you might know who I am. My name is Harald Roine. I'm the founder and CEO of Bureau. I started my entrepreneurial journey at 16. That's when I started really building things. I've been into this entire scene of digital growth, digital marketing, digital automation, and sales for 15 years, helped several hundred companies. We were one of the first to really start running automated outbound on LinkedIn before it even became a hot thing. And we were one of the first to really introduce the lead minus posts to LinkedIn. We're the biggest user and the company that does the most of those types of posts after having talked to the digital software systems that allow us to do that. And for me, I'm a bit of the mad scientist persona. I love creating stuff, and you will see that probably through this webinar. And with that, I'm going to leave the word to Lindsay in our team.
Thanks. I just want to check. Can you see my screen, Harold? I want to make sure I should.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. Yes, I am Lindsay Jew, and I have been working in sales and marketing for 20 years, and including as a CMO. And no matter what the title is, really what my goal is to help B2B companies translate their marketing strategy into marketing that actually supports sales, which is exactly what we're here to do today, is not just talk about going viral on LinkedIn, but how that can be used to translate into supporting sales. Because at the end of the day, That's why you guys showed up. That's why you're here. And that's why the visibility on LinkedIn is important. And it's important to be on LinkedIn, but the visibility and what's happening there, I just want to emphasize it's not just a matter of having a profile, having a company profile, having a personal profile. What's happening on your profile is you're either attracting potential leads or you're detracting them. And what do I mean by that? So when people come to visit your profile, how many seconds? Put it in the chat. I want to see what you guys think. How many seconds do you think it takes before they decide this looks like somebody? Okay, Tony says 3. How many seconds do you think it takes before? Okay, 3 to 5. Okay, good. You guys are pretty close. 10, 3 seconds. Yeah, it is 3 seconds. Okay. I just, yeah, keep the comments coming if you're still thinking on it. But yeah, it's 3 seconds really, because they know pretty quickly if they are going to say, oh yeah, this looks like someone that I might want to have a conversation with. If they're not really sure what you do, or they're not sure how you solve problems, and that's where it might be like a little bit more because they're a little confused, and then most likely they're just going to say, it's too confusing. I'm not sure what's going on here on this profile. I'd just rather not. And this is happening whether it's a referral, whether it's inbound, whether it's outbound. They're gonna go check out your company website, and they want to say, okay, who is Lindsay? What does she do? What's her story? Is she somebody that I'm gonna spend some time on the phone with? So digging into getting viral on LinkedIn, and the approach and the mindset that I would like all of you to adopt today is we're not here to be a creator and just get likes or get views, because then you're just thinking, okay, a numbers game. You can get a million views, but how many of that is going to translate into dollars or leads into the funnel? I used to spend some time on TikTok and Instagram, and on TikTok, I had posts of over like 100K views, and I had reel that got over 1.5 million views. And you know what? There's nothing worse than getting those numbers and having not a cent come through, because what happened was I didn't have the operator mindset. I just had, okay, well, just let me get likes or let me get views. And I was thinking of like a creator. So now we're all going to move over and shift into ops mode and think, okay, how am I doing these 4 things? Creating visibility, trust, getting people to raise their hand, and therefore the hand raisers are more likely to turn into conversations. So type ops in the chat if you guys are ready to adopt that mindset and think about this as, okay, it's not about having a million impressions. It's not about that. It's about, okay, yes, Julia, she's adopting the mindset. Okay, good. I'm glad that you guys are already converts. So this is what's happening in the marketplace right now. I think you guys have felt the shift. I've been hearing this on phone calls with folks, is that cold outbound, it's just not seeing the same results that used to. It's a lot of you are still doing this with phone calls, with email, and you don't want to give up on that strategy, but it's just weak. And that's it's interesting because referrals is the other component, and what we're hearing is happening in B2B is they're gold when they happen, but they're just not predictable. You don't know if you can count on them, or it might happen one year but not the next. The difference maker here is attention, because when you're in front of the right audience saying the right message, they want more, and that's going to compound over time. So the attention, remember what I said, it's like from a creator, not from a creator mindset, but from an operator mindset, is you're saying the right message to the right audience, and therefore it's compounding. So how do we get into it? That's what you guys are asking. Okay, I also got a question from Marks, which I'll just address right now since it was on the slide. What I mean by people who raise their hands, let me go back here. is people who opt in, who nod, they're engaging, they're saying yes, and they're going to the call to action. That's what I mean by them raising hands. Thank you for that question, and thank you for paying attention, Mark. So with LinkedIn, it has four jobs. This is how you're getting into the operator mindset. You're thinking about, let's build from the bottom layer up. It's visibility. You're coming into the algorithm, you're coming into people's feeds, then they're starting to have trust with you. And then they're saying, okay, the message that Lindsay has now that I've seen her 3 times or 4 times is she talks about B2B marketing, AI marketing approach. That's her message. That's what I know she's about. And then you're also channeling them to that call to action or that demand capture layer. So there are options for them to download resources, to take a next step with you, watch the video. That is the way that it's set up so that you're thinking like an operator and that you're bringing the leads in rather than just leaving them as a view. Now I have a question. Is if if your target audience or your ICP is seeing the right ideas from you every week, is that going to change how they perceive your company? If so, put yes in the chat. Okay, Sanjeev right away said yes. Yes, says Tony. Because what's happening here is the more people that see you and the more people, yes, 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 the more people that associate you as solving their problem, the more likely they are to buy from you. That's what I'm talking about here, is if they see that you're solving a problem, that you know what it is that's happening, then they're more likely to buy from you because they're going to associate your expertise as solving their problem. Now, I feel like you guys are here, you're excited about LinkedIn, and I want you to be successful. I don't want you to give up. And these are the common reasons why I see people giving up on LinkedIn or why their approach or their strategy is failing. It's not because they're lazy and it's not because they're in an impossible market. It's because they're coming from the wrong set of beliefs. And what do I mean by beliefs? What I mean is they say things like, my niche is boring, or, oh, if I just made it a priority, then maybe I could do more. Oh, posts don't work. Those are the three false beliefs that we're going to dig into here further. Because once you remove those beliefs and those mindset and those blocks, LinkedIn is going to be have infinite capacity for you. All right. So secret number one, it's not about your expertise. That's not the problem. You guys are expert. You have a ton of knowledge that you can share. It's just about putting it in the right frame. And how do we get that in the right frame? Okay. So these are examples of what is happening. And you can still do this, but this isn't an operator mindset. You can share updates on LinkedIn, opinions, share a general news article. You guys see this all the time. Merry Christmas, or we won this award. That's okay. You can keep that on LinkedIn, but just know that that's not going to move the needle on creating visibility in the way that is going to channel in leads and is going to bring dollars through the door. With what we see working with B2B strong content, it's tied to these four things. First is a sharp ICP or your sharp target audience. You really know to a pinpoint who it is you're speaking to, their pains, and to such a level that they want to remove that pain. You understand their context so you can speak in their language, and you can do it to a level that's even better articulated than what they can name for themselves. Okay, ask yourself. Now, I want you guys to ask yourself these questions. Do you know the problems that your ICP faces? Okay, that's the first question. Second question, what's important to them? Can you answer that? What's the language that they're using? And do you know how to get their attention? Okay. If you had an issue answering one of those questions, put no in the chat, because maybe you said no, or you weren't sure about that. Okay. I'm seeing some no's go through. What I want to offer you is the ICP prompt pack. Okay, this is really going to help address all four of these areas. There's no obligation, it's completely free. Just stay till the end and we'll tell you how to access that so you can be going viral on LinkedIn in the right way. Because if you answered yes to all of this, you should be going viral on LinkedIn right now. Because that's exactly how you can create the content that is going to get in front of. Now, who's ready for who's ready for an example? Put an example if you want to see more on how this would look. Put it into the chat. Okay, we'll go to that then. I'll spend some time. Thank you for typing in example. Okay, so from a broad stroke, just so that I make sure you guys are following along, broad content is something that starts off with a message, consistency matters on LinkedIn. Okay, yeah, that's not really helping anyone. You don't, when people read that, they don't know who it's for, right? The stronger message is why founders who post once a week still struggle to create pipeline. It's who you're talking to, it's the problem you solve, and how you solve the problem. Right? Now people are more likely to say, "Oh, yeah, you're an expert, you know how to solve this problem," and they're starting to have that layer of trust with you. Okay, another example here, since you guys said you wanted to see examples. Okay, so I have some internal posts that we have. Okay, first one at top left, Harold says, ChatGPT just made solo marketers dangerous. Okay, he's talking specifically to solo marketers. So I know he's talking to me. He's turning it into a content team. That's something as a marketer that I don't have, or I'm not sure I have that figured out. And then how he's going to solve it. He has this ChatGPT project and he's going to share. Okay, those are the specifics and how you do it to your target audience. You speak to their language, and you also have that demand capture layer. So there's a call to action there within the post. Therefore, when this gets picked up in the algorithm and gets visible, you're channeling them in as a lead rather than just leaving them like a creator would and taking up the views. So I just want to repeat what both Harold and I have said earlier. It's not about discipline, it's about a system. Okay. We have a lot of pretty slides, but I put this one in to make sure you guys are paying attention. It's not about posting more, it's about a system. Okay. Hopefully that brought a smile to your face. Now, if you're posting on a regular basis, let's say weekly, but they still don't remember you, go back, look at your ICP, look at how, oh, I see some smiles. Okay, good. And see if you can articulate the pain and diagnose the problem. If not, stay till the end. We'll tell you how to use the ICP prompt pack to help you do that. So the bottleneck, it's not about discipline, it's about having a repeatable process. And this is a quote from one of my favorite authors, James Clear of Atomic Habits. And he says, you don't rise to the level of your goals. Okay. Because you guys are all here because you want to be viral on LinkedIn. You fall to the level of your systems. So if you have a system in place, depending on how good it is, that's going to be your outcome. And okay, so now you're thinking, I've got the strategy. I understand what you're saying, Lindsay, from moving from a creator mindset to an operator. What now? Um, it's so difficult for me to get the content out. It feels like I'm starting from zero with each post, and it's a lot of load. I'm already doing everything else in my business. This is something that I have to manage on top of that. So let me say this is a common problem. This is why most people quit LinkedIn because they feel like they have to go from stop to 100 miles per hour. But let me ease that belief a little bit here. You just need to focus on these principles: the ICP, the pain, have a resource for them, have the post in multiple angles, and then optimize on that and you'll have multiple variants on those performing posts. Okay. This is what you need to do. So with the ICP prompt pack, figure out what your topic or your content pillar is going to be, and then you do variants from that. This could happen with just a few clicks. It's this is just a view of our content canvas. Harold is going to go a little bit more into this, but I'm just saying if you're having trouble coming up with the content, there are some ways that we can help support that with a winning formula that we've applied to the earlier posts that I showed of our team and also our customers. Okay, so you guys have your mindset as not a creator, but now as an operator, and you're understanding the need for a content system. I just want to say you have a choice, right? If you guys don't do this and move forward, then your competition is going to, and then they're going to be the ones to get the visibility. So you might as well do something about it and take action. With that, Harold is going to break down this step by step so you can lean in and tell you how we went viral 253 times last year. Take it away, Harold.
So let's see. Can you guys see my screen now? Can you see it, Lindsay? Yes, yes. Okay, you guys
Yes,
reacted very, very quickly. So one,
they're
I
paying
love that. You
attention.
guys have been paying attention and you're tuned in. So that's good. Before we move into secret number 3, because Lindsay went into secret number 1 and secret number 2, comment 1 in the chat if you learned something and you found what Lindsay covered to be useful. And again, I'm going to ask you guys to comment a lot in the chat because I want to see how engaged you are. And I'm starting to see Jens. So Muhammad, Tony, William, Dustin, Cabell, Stephen, Radu, Gaurav, Prahlad, Mark, Craig, Rajesh, Justin, Divya. Amazing. Then, like, there's a reason why I have Lindsay around because she's really good in terms of articulating things, but also she has a lot of knowledge. So, getting into it now. So, we had 3 main secrets that we wanted to share. And the reason why we took these into secrets is because, as we've said, LinkedIn, there are a couple of, let's say, tricks you can play with it, but it's the system that ultimately is the thing that really makes it work. Because there's not a single post that makes LinkedIn work. It's the connected system behind it. It's also the connected system that leads you to have the post in the first place. So we're going to go into this as the next thing. Because if you try posting something and you have this belief that, okay, 1 post is all it takes, that's true, but you will never have lasting things. So as you see with this, like if you rely on a post and a single post, you're really trying to crush something that is not meant to support a big on system. You need something more. A single post doesn't create a customer in itself, but it's a model built around the post that ensures that the post can actually give you clients. And as I mentioned earlier, people don't talk about this. Like all of the quote unquote gurus on LinkedIn that a lot of companies see or a lot of people see us as, they don't talk about it. We want to talk about it because we want to give you everything. Because what we know is that if you do it and you succeed, amazing. Because that's why we're doing what we're doing. If you want our help, even better, we can help you and then you can get to success. So one thing that I want to start with is what does posts actually do? And we've all already to some degree said this, but a post ensures that you have visibility. Visibility and repeated exposure results in familiarity, and familiarity reduces the sales resistance that someone would have if they keep on seeing you time and time again, and that is what ends up leading into demand for what you do. I saw a comment in the chat a bit earlier, in which was, I'm not sure if people seeing me time and time again has a positive impact in your sales process. One of the things is I want you guys to comment for how many months you've seen me, Lindsay, and Bureau around on LinkedIn. And just like, how many months ago did you first come across us? And I want you to comment that in the chat because that is going to be interesting because we have people that have seen us for years. We have people that have just entered our universe. And I see, for example, Stephen, like you're fairly new, like you've only been around for a month. And then I can ask the question for you guys that have seen us for a year, 6 months, 4 months, 12 months plus, have you gotten a lot of value from the things that we've shared on LinkedIn, sent on email, and things that you've been exposed to and been provided by us? Comment yes in the chat. Rather, yes. Yes, yes, yes. And that's the thing. Because if we keep on showing up and providing value, the relationship is going to be completely different. And a lot of, let's say, companies, what they do, they post randomly. They hope that is going to drive the client. And they jump on a call with that client, or it's sales has a call with that client, and they say that's a shitty lead. Or lead, not the client. They jump on a call with that lead. The reason why it's quote unquote shitty is because that lead is not ready. They haven't been nurtured. They haven't been warmed up. You haven't built and provided them with real value over time. And that is the thing. LinkedIn is just one piece to the chain. It's where people can raise their hand and then they can enter the universe and ecosystem of your company. So as what I've seen is, and I want you to make a promise with yourself, and that is that you're going to stop doing what you see on the screen now after this webinar. I want you to stop doing posting and hoping that it's going to result in something. And when you don't hear anything, you stop. We posted 1,861 times on LinkedIn in 2025. Out of those, 253 of them went viral in the sense of getting a ton of leads with 150 comments or more. If we were to go down to 100 comments, we had 380 posts hit that number. So we did a lot of posts that didn't really go anywhere. So if we were to stop, if something didn't work, we wouldn't have gotten the 180,000 comments we got last year. So if you don't have a system, you end up hoping, and if you then don't see something, it's easy for you to stop. So what I want you all to agree on and promise to yourself, please, is don't stop. Because if you stop, you never get anything out of it. So I'm going to try to pick up the piece, Rajesh, so that you guys can get as much as you can. But this is what we want to stop doing. We want to stop hoping and we want to stop stopping. So the thing is, how this all ties together is that you have your LinkedIn post that is talking about the resource. When people then comment on that post, what ends up happening is that we use a tool called LeadShark. That is the purple fin. LeadShark is the automation tool we use to answer everyone that comments. So if someone comments on the post, LeadShark will automatically reply to them, and it will send the resource that we promoted in the post to them on DM. If you're not connected with the lead or the contact or profile on LinkedIn, what you can do is that you can reply a separate type of message to those individuals. That could be the link to sign up page. It could also be a reply that they need to send you a connection request. LeadShark is automatically accepting that and then sending the resource. So, as we talked about in the past, you need to have a system. LeadShark allows you to automate the entire sending and handling of your posts. You can schedule them 2 months ahead, and it just keeps on running. What then happens in the follow-up and the nurture is that we send the lead to GetSales. GetSales is an automation tool that allows you to automate campaigns on LinkedIn, follow up on LinkedIn, but also enrich the leads. So if someone comments, GetSales is what finds their LinkedIn profile, where they work, the company, the website. They find the details about every single lead, so we know you are engaging with us. And when we have that data, we can then see, is this a lead that is worth nurturing? Is this a lead that is a match to the ICP and target audience we have? And that is why one of the things Lindsay talked about was you need to be crystal clear on your ICP. And just before the Q&A at the very end, you will get the option to get that ICP pack with a lot of other bonuses as well. So Get cells is then what automates the entry to our nurture. And nurture is basically provide with more value, send them emails, show up with ads, provide more things on LinkedIn. And that is what nurtures people to the point where they book a call. This is the connected demand system. The philosophy that drives this is what we call gravity marketing. And you can think of it as, imagine your brand as a planet. The bigger it is, the denser it is, and the more useful that planet becomes in terms of easy to live there and stuff like that, the stronger gravitational pull your brand has to your market. And the way that we make that gravitational pull to your brand stronger is by having more resources, useful ideas that you share, proof, send emails, ads, follow up. And if you do that, which are the components in the demand system, people come into your universe, they circle around you until they are ready. And you, through content, sharing things, emails, ads, posts, follow-ups, give them the opportunity to get even closer. And that is what, over time, compounds into a sustainable, predictable system that drives demand and pipeline for a company. So the thing that is the benefit of this is that you can segment all your leads. You have your cold leads, warm leads, and hot leads. Because if they engage with you, they comment on a post, they click on an ad, they open an email, they click an email, they visit your page, they opt in, they sign up for a webinar, you can segment them. And the warmer someone is, they get more. The colder someone is, they get less. So it could be once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, once a day, 2 times a day, 4 times a day. You can change the cadence to that. And this is where posting on LinkedIn is just a tip of the iceberg, because that's what gets people into your ecosystem. But you need to segment and have a grander system so that you keep showing up to those individuals. And that is why going viral on LinkedIn is a one-off wonder in the traditional sense. You want the connected system to ensure that you have data on your audience. You know where they are. You know if they're qualified. You can keep showing up and staying top of mind. So there was this recommendation by Google in terms of how do you really build a strong brand? And they have what they call the 7-11-4 rule. And that is you want people to consume 7 hours of content. You want to have 11 touch points with them, and you want to have that over 4 different channels. The 4 channels we rely on, that we recommend you to also rely on: LinkedIn, email, ads, and all of those talk about the resource that you have on your website. So those are the 4 venues and channels people get and interact with your company. And since you have resources, you do posts, you have emails, you have ads, you just by proxy have a lot of touch points, but you need people to consume. That is the key, because if people get to 7 hours, it completely changes the game. So the formula for this, again, you have your post, people comment, you DM them with a lead magnet, you repeat the nurture, which basically send them emails, show them ads, and keep on showing up on LinkedIn so they can interact with you more. And that ends up being the opportunity for people to book a call, or for your team to pick up the phone for those that are really, really qualified and really, really warm. We have people in our system that has commented and consumed and engaged with more than 300, 400 posts that we posted on LinkedIn. And remember, we did 1,800 posts plus last year. They've engaged with 400 of them. And I'm just going to ask you guys a question. If someone in your audience had engaged with your content more than 400 times, do you think that is going to have an impact on how easy it will be to sell that person? Comment yes in the chat. I see Mark, yes. Love the gravity analogy. Appreciate that. Tony, Mike, Craig, Will, William, Rajesh, Radu, all of you guys are saying yes. So now, do you guys see how it's the connected system that makes LinkedIn actually translate into tangible business, thinking from an operator perspective and not just a LinkedIn creator perspective? Comment yes or 1 in the chat if you agree with that and see that now. 111, yes, yes, yes. Okay, amazing. Then you have gotten to the mindset and looking at this in what we would like to say the right way of doing it. There's plenty of ways, but this is the way that we recommend. So the next is, in the very beginning, we mentioned that, okay, you have these lead magnets posts, and it might feel a bit cringe, and you might not want to be that type of person. And I just want to break that down one more time. Because the reason why these, I created this thing, comment one, and I'm going to send it to you on DM, why that feels cringe, and when the sentiment is what it is because of three things. And remember, like we've done that. We posted more than anyone on LinkedIn because we've shared more than 170 different resources in the past 1.5, a bit more than that years. No one comes close. The reason why the sentiment is bad and the reason why it's a bit cringy is because most people that do it, they don't do it properly. They have something that isn't valuable. They have something that is not really a big of a promise. They have a weak resource and they have very, very weak follow-up. In a lot of cases, people that comment don't even get the damn thing. Is there a reason why, and isn't like, there's a reason why people don't like it because they never get it. It feels like a bait and where people don't get the promise. That you can't do it that way. If you were to do this, you need to do it properly. You need to have something that is actually valuable. And that's why I said, like, most of you guys are probably experts at what you do. You just need to extract the expertise you have in your mind and put that into something that is valuable. And then you need to have the proper system to actually follow up and fulfill on the promise, which is if you comment, you're going to get it. There are obviously things in terms of limits on LinkedIn that is throttling this if you truly go viral and get thousands of comments. But that's why you need a system. So if you do this, don't half-ass it. Do it properly. And the system is that what allows you to do it. So the thing here is that LinkedIn is not the whole funnel. LinkedIn is just a top piece that brings people into your demand system, into your universe, into that gravitational pull that you as a brand and a company should have, but you need that system. So in practical terms, these are the 10 steps that you need to do and go through to build your LinkedIn content engine. The wrong way to start is by asking yourself the question, what should I post today? I want you guys to say, me, if you've ever asked yourself that question, like you looked at, okay, I need to do posting on LinkedIn. What should I post? Comment me in the chat if you've ever experienced that and even thought about that. And you may be drawing a bit of a blank that, oh, what the heck am I going to post? Okay, there's a lot of me's in the chat. And I get you. What I'm now going to provide you is the steps that is going to give you the opportunity to never ask that question again. And that's a bit of a bold promise. So here we go. The better question is, how can I turn my expertise into something that gives me repeated market visibility and conversations? And the way you do that is fairly simple. Lindsay gave a bit of a peek into this. So first off, you need to understand and know who your target audience and ICP is. There's so many people I talk to that say, oh, I'm selling to businesses. And that's it. They don't know the segments, what type of companies, the firmographics, demographics, geographics, anything. They don't know the persona. And also within your ICP, you have segments. You can segment your ICP and target audience down into small buckets. You need to know who your target audience is. And you also need to know their pain, because people don't give a bat shit about your product or service. What do you do? What's in it for them? And for them is they have a pain. They have a problem. They have a challenge. And that is what they are willing to pay to solve. So everything needs to be revolved around the pain. Now, if you know your audience, the pain becomes obvious. But it needs to be a pain that your target audience are thinking about all the freaking time. What is keeping them up at night? What makes them be distant in conversations with their family, their friends, and their spouses? What is it that makes someone really ache? You need to know that. The third thing is, based on that, you can think from your expertise, what's a solution to that thing? I can say, okay, if you are reaching out on LinkedIn doing outbound and it doesn't really work, I can tell you the reasons why it doesn't work. Either your profile doesn't show off authority, So people are like, oh, this guy or this gal is sketchy. 2, you're targeting the wrong people. Or 3, you're sending the wrong thing. Those are the 3 things. There are other variables, but those are the main ones. You can do that with any sort of pain and problem your target audience faces, given your expertise. So identifying those is the 3rd step. So comment 1 if you're following along, and this makes sense. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, good. I'm going to ask you guys, remember, we have this agreement. You're going to engage, and I'm going to ask you questions. Step 4 to 6 is based on your idea of how to solve those things, you actually create an educational resource. So you create this as a how-to, step-by-step, checklist, template, white paper, webinar, video, flowchart. It can take any shape and form. And all of those that I mentioned now, we've done. We've done tools, we've done webinars, we've done emails, we've done Google Docs, we've done templates, we've done any shape and form that you can think of. But it's rooted in the pain that the audience faces. Now, based on that resource, you have step 5, which is you need to identify what are the angles that this could be presented in. And this is for your post. You can talk about this from a pain perspective. You can talk about it from a gain perspective, so basically the goal. You can talk about this from a authority perspective. You can talk about this from a contrarian perspective. You need to have different ones. Because if you have identified the different angles for it, you have different posts. Then you never need to ask yourself, what do I need to post about? Because you have the resource that is in the target audience's pain, and you have different versions and ways of writing that post, which is the step 6, creating that post. That post should always try to have some sort of hand-raised call to action. There are 2 ways of doing this on LinkedIn. There really is no other way you should do it. One is the traditional lead magnet posts on LinkedIn. That's the comment X to get it. That's the one I always recommend you to do, but you need to have something that is valuable, useful, and you need to fulfill the promise. So you need a system behind it. So you need lead shark. As easy as that. The second type of post you can do with still a hand raiser is your contrarian thought leadership type of posts. And that is when you share the value in your post, and then you have a question at the end. This is where you ask people to engage. This is where you ask people to disagree. This is where you ask people to comment on what they experience, so that you create the engagement platform for people to interact back and forth. The reason why you also want to have that second one is because that allows you to share more of your flavor, engage with your audience, have them ask you questions, and it just happens on the platform. But you need the first one, which is the lead magnet post. So again, comment 2 in the chat if you're following along and this makes sense. 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, you guys are still engaged. The thumbs up. The promise has been fulfilled so far. Also, by the way, if you have questions throughout, drop them in the Q&A and we're going to address those at the end. So next up is step 7 to 10. So the very first thing is that by posting these types of posts where you have that call to action or hand raiser call to action, you capture the interest. By talking about something that is rooted in a pain for your particular audience, based on expertise, where you have it in educational content like a guide or a video or a tool or a template, and you get people to engage on that, that tells you a lot. People want that thing to be solved. And this is how you can then also test what are the things my audience is interested in. Are they more interested in topic 1, topic 2, topic 3? And I can say that we address really 3 main things: lead generation, lead nurturing, lead conversion. We can create resources for all of those 3 problems that people face. But what are most people interested in? Lead gen. So we focus on that. That is what you get. You get the data. Once you've captured that interest, where you use lead shark to automate, you have the follow-up. That is where you have your email, your ads, and continued posting. What you want to do is that you want to set up a system where when someone comments, they get into your ecosystem. And the way you want to share things in your ecosystem is you want to share more value. So you want to have more resources. We say that if you have 10 good quality resources, you can have a set it and forget it marketing system that keeps on bringing leads in. You keep on reaching out, you keep on nurturing them, and you get bookings at the end. If you want to turbocharge it, put your sales team on top, and then you have something that is going to be able to scale your company beyond multiple seven figures annually. Once you identify what works and you see that, okay, this one topic is something that people are interested in, that's how you shape your pillar. And by having your pillar, you have a recurring, as an anchor that aligns more resources, more posts, and it becomes the guiding pillars and directions you can take your resources and posts on LinkedIn. And by having that, you build a rhythm and you will never need to ask yourself the question, what should I post on LinkedIn today? Comment 3, if these 10 steps made sense, and now you feel like, okay, I know better now where I should start to never ask the question, what should I post today? 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Good. So those are the big 10 steps. So taking a zoom out, simplifying it, you need to know your ICP. You need to know their problem. You need a valuable resource created. You post about it and a hand-raised call to action. You send it to them and send follow-up and nurturing, and you get calls. How many calls, conversions to calls, that depends on a lot of variables, your audience, how well you write, how interesting the thing you have is, and also how let's say, good you are at what you do. I can't have any impact on those, but this is the rhythm. If you repeat this, you will then have an engine. So moving on, the strategy is actually fairly simple because you understand the moving parts now. The thing that is the difficult thing that makes a lot of companies that understand this struggle is actually putting it into practice, because then the work really starts. Because you need to research, you need to find your positioning, you need to create the resources, you need to find the post angles, you need to follow up, you need your landing pages, you need your booking calendar, take meetings, you need your ads, you need your nurturing, you need your reporting to see and always understand how is this performing. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the work really starts. Because I can teach you, and Lindsay can teach you, the methodology and the mindset of looking at LinkedIn, but you still need to do the work. Because going viral on LinkedIn, anything that is worthwhile will take time. But the thing that I'm now about to go more into is how can you save time actually doing this? Because if this was easy, everyone would have it. Everyone would go viral on LinkedIn, and then LinkedIn would lose its touch. It would no longer be valuable. Because if everyone got like 100,000 views, no one would get 100,000 views because everyone got it and the algorithm would change. So the game or the platform would be turned over and the strategy wouldn't work anymore. So the thing is that this is why we built something for ourselves that really changed it. We built something we call the canvas to have a visual flow of everything, where you can see your pillars, you can see your audience, you can see your resources, you can see the emails for those resources, the ads for those resources, the posts and the pages for those resources. Because when you are to build this, I'm sure that all of you guys have probably tried using AI at one point in creating your marketing and helping in your marketing. So I want you to comment 4 in the chat if you probably have AI written content in a dozen different documents, you have hundreds of chat with ChatGPT or Claude, you've tried anything and everything, and you feel like it's a complete mess. Comment 4. Okay, there's a lot of you guys that can relate to that problem in terms of it being a mess. That is why we did it this way. Imagine you having those hundreds of chats, hundreds of or tens of documents, and those 50 different prompts that you've been using scattered all over in one visual place. Would that be valuable? For me, it completely changed everything because now I can see everything from a bird's eye view. So I want to do a bit of a quick recap. So far, we've covered a lot of different things. We are just above the 1 hour mark, so I'm sorry we didn't fulfill our promise of getting to 60 minutes. So we might stretch a bit more, but it's going to be worth it. So we've covered that it's usually a visibility problem. It's not that you're not good enough at what you do. You're probably good enough, more than good enough. You just need to fix your visibility. You need to frame it, your expertise in the right way to actually compound and get that visibility. You need something of a content chain to actually know how to create your content, how to align it, which then becomes the demand pathway, and you need to have the 10 steps. We've covered all of these things. The thing here is taking what we've now covered and turning that into a repeatable engine where you have your understanding of this, you know how it works, you also don't need to spend 4 to 8 hours a day doing this. So the hard part is really how do you take your expertise and one insight and turn that into more things? The thing is that you know probably so much about your audience, so much about how to solve the problems, how to do the work in your particular field, that taking a step back, looking at it, the entire thing, identifying a methodology and the one insight based on their pains is usually probably something that you haven't done. But I would encourage you to, if there's one thing you decide to do after this webinar, is promise yourself that you are going to take your expertise and share it with Evolve. Because from my experience running this type of marketing where you give stuff away for 15 years, you know so much that is going to be valuable to people. But people are so busy doing the things that they do on a daily basis that they will always find it interesting and they will be grateful for it. But them actually doing something with it is where the tricky part becomes. I like to say that previously, people paid you for your expertise. People no longer pay you for your expertise. People pay you for your experience. Because you can go to ChatGPT and you can ask it about anything without any topic. Your audience does that most likely already. But how is it that you're positioning yourself and providing valuable knowledge that only you know? And that's your experience. So this is what you need. And this, again, is why we built the Canvas, to have a system to actually do all of this, so that we can then go ahead and take my expertise, put it into a platform, and then distill everything. What are the pillars? What are the topics? What are the pain points? What does my audience look like? Do more research, calibrate it, and spew out guides, checklists, playbooks, webinar scripts, posts, ads, and emails. And basically becoming then our content strategy and engine for LinkedIn. And the thing that we do inside of here is that we then take the context, which is all the information about our audience. We take that and we can run prompts with it. So I guess that you guys, like, we have tons of prompts. I guess you have also that. Like, there are prompts all over. They're like scattered. Like, it's easy to create prompts, but they don't have a system. So we have that in here. We have your content pillars, which basically are the guiding stars or aligning topics and ensure that you keep consistent and not get too scattered in what you actually create. Because what I've faced, what a lot of clients have faced before we had a system like this, is that when they ask themselves, what should we post on LinkedIn? It could be, okay, let's create this guide. Then over time, when you have like 10, 15, 20, 30, when you've really done this for a while, it becomes a mess. So you need to align and anchor all the resources and content you create to key content topics. And under those content topics and pillars, you have your lead magnet, you have your email sequences and emails, you have your ads, you have your LinkedIn posts, and you have your pages. Because one thing is that when you have your resource, the resource needs to be somewhere. It shouldn't just be a PDF, it should be a page. Because if you send people to a page you have, you can do a couple of things. One, you can track who's actually visiting it. So your email system, you can usually track if they clicked on an email, and your page can track if they visited it, and you can match those. So you can then see, oh, I'm now just going to take a couple of your names. Gaurav, Dustin, William, Tony, Justin, Jason, Mike, Aaron, Stephen, Gaurav, Steve, Mike. There's a lot of people that then have visited our page. So you need to then identify that. And then you have your orchestrator. And it's a good question, Mike. And for all of you guys here, Mike is one of the clients that we work with, and he has access to this. And in the canvas and in the system that we've built, you have an orchestrator. That's an AI agent that can help you. You can chat with it, and it has access to everything in that visual mind map. So it knows what resources you have. It knows the research about your audience. It knows what emails, LinkedIn posts, ads, pages you have. And it can also look at the stats and say what is performing right now. Or you could ask it, I need a new LinkedIn post similar to the one that I already have. So it becomes an engine, so you don't need to be a full-time content creator doing this. So going back, the point with LinkedIn and going viral on LinkedIn is not just posting more posts. It's building the system around it, the resources, the emails, landing pages, the follow-up, and the booking and the calls. So you guys have stuck around for 1 hour and 11 or 10 minutes at this point. For those that joined from the very get-go, you've been incredibly patient. But at this point, you guys have two options. Really, you do have three. You can take this and you can leave. But you're sticking around, like there's 57 of you still around, and you're here for a reason. And there are two things that you can now do. I want to share with you guys how we can actually help you. Because now you've learned things. And I want to ask, is it all right? Comment yes if you want to figure out and for me to explain the two things that I recommend you, the things that we can do to help you with doing this, taking this full thing, implementing this in your company, getting you to have your content system, knowing what to post, and all of these things. Okay, enough of you guys saying yes, so I'm going to move on to the next slide. So there are two ways that we can actually help you guys. We have a do-it-yourself, and we have a done it for you. So the first one is the do-it-yourself part. And that is where you get access to the canvas and everything for that to identify your audience, research your audience, create your pillars, create your resources, create your posts, create your emails, create your ads, create your pages, create your booking page, all in one place where your team runs the system. So you basically get the login and then you go in and actually use it with our guidance, but you punch the buttons. That is the one way you can go. The second way you can go is a done for you part. And this is where Bureau, so basically me and my company, we come in and we build the entire engine for you. That means we interview you, we ask you the questions, we research your audience, we create the pillars that is to guide all content, you approve it, we create the ideas for the lead magnets and resources based on your expertise, you review it, we create the posts, the emails, the ads, and the pages, and you always give a thumbs up because you are the brand that is being posted from. That is the second path that you can go down. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is not for everyone. This is for a certain type of company. And also, which of these are right for you depends on multiple variables. It depends on your offer. It depends on your market and audience. It depends on your current content and what level of support you need. Do you have a huge internal team that can use a tool and methodology and run with it? Or do you not want to build that team and you just want us to help you with it? So it then depends. Like we can help you in a lot of different ways. These two are the main ones. Which ones that we would recommend depends. And that is why I want you to get an opportunity at this point. And that is I want to give you the ability to schedule a call with us so that we can figure out which of these are right for you. So I'm going to drop in the chat a link. That link allows you to come to a page like this and book a call to speak with us. So there's a link in the chat now, which allows you to get to a page like this, and you can see the calendar that is Lindsay's calendar, schedule a call with us to speak with us on this topic. And the purpose of that call is for you to identify ICP and Angle, for us to ask more questions about that, identify what gaps you have. So do you have a content team? Do you not have a content team? Do you have content from before? Do you not? What are you currently doing? What are you not doing? And then identifying the fastest path for you to really make LinkedIn the source to really fuel your demand engine. And we're going to then identify if it's the done do-it-yourself or the done for you system that is best and most appropriate for your company. What I also want to say is that you're going to get value from that call nonetheless. Like you stuck around, you saw the sections that Lindsay covered. Like that was just a teeny tiny taste of what she is able to go into and talk about and consult you on. But the call is to help you identify, is it that you do this yourself with guidance of the systems that we built so that you don't need to turn into full-time influencer and creator, but can stay an operator in a business and build it, or that we help you build everything on a done for you basis. And the one thing I want to leave with here is that if you book a call and you within the next 7 days end up going with us, so helping you in the done for you type of way, we're going to double the number of resources and content we create for you. That is only valid if you book a call now, while we're still live, and that you within the next 7 days make a decision for this. The reason for that is we have a limited bandwidth of who we can take on, but we want to give those that showed up here live because you guys are sticking around. Like you've been listening to me and Lindsay speak for 1 hours and 15 minutes, and you found value in this. You're here for a reason. You want to take action, but you don't necessarily know what to do, how to do it, or where to start. If you decide to jump on a call and you decide to move forward with us, we're going to double the thing that we're going to create. And the benefit of doing that is that you're going to get a real kickstart. You're going to get more valuable resources. It is going to bring in more gravity. Remember the gravitational pull. You're going to have more post angles. You're going to provide more touch points for the market to engage with you, which is going to bring the buyers closer to your brand. And it's going to kickstart the demand engine using LinkedIn as a top of funnel activity. So again, the link is in the chat, so you can schedule a call. We will have limited time, but I hope at this point you've understood that going viral on LinkedIn is not about starting from scratch. It's not about asking yourself the question, what should I post about today? It should be about having a system taking your expertise, turning that into resources, knowing the backend systems for actually doing this. And that is what we're sharing with clients, if it's you doing it or if it's us doing it for you. So with that, I want to, oh, it seems like the image didn't load because we've come to the end. We've gotten to the Q&A, and we did promise that if you guys stuck around for the very end, we're going to give you the bonus of getting access to the resources and the ICP prompt pack and more prompts that will help you do these things. So I now just shared another link in the chat, which is the Go Viral on LinkedIn bonus sign up. So in about half an hour from now, if you go to that page, you sign up, in half an hour, you're going to get an email with all of the bonuses that we want to give you as an attendee. So with that, for you guys still sticking around, you stuck around. So this is our show of appreciation. So if you click that, you can get those bonuses. Now with that, I think we, Lindsay, can move over to the Q&A.
Yeah, we have some great questions, and we have a lot of people still on the line. So
Alrighty.
I would like to start off with Steven's question. He says, how does the system work if my current connections are not my ICP? I'm trying to rebuild my connections, removing old non-ICPs and adding new. So when you're asking how does the system work, I'm guessing that you're talking about either the done for you model or the DIY. You don't have to go back through your current connections and remove them. What we would do is we would focus on those that were in your database, if you have a CRM database, and taking the ones from there. We would also go out and do outbound targeting your ICP. So therefore, you don't have to remove. It doesn't matter that you have connections that don't match your ICP. So we're going to go out, and we're also going to work with you to have inbound LinkedIn connections that are within your ICP because you're targeting them through the content, and it's super focused to only bring in those that you can solve their problems. Okay, so next question. Mark asks, how do we create content pillars? So easy way to do that, since I don't know, Mark, what your particular business is, but an easy way to do that is go to these bonuses here that Harold mentioned, the free offer. Check out the ICP prompt. All you need to do with the IC prompt, and somebody else asked about this too. They said, "Oh, I have a new product." Anonymous says, "I have a new product. What do I do if I'm still trying to figure out my ICP?" Okay, so this is answering both of these questions. The ICP prompt is going to help you with both of these because all you need to put into it is you need to put in your offer, your unique selling point, and then how you deliver on this, how you deliver on what it is you sell. And the more that you can be detailed about this, the better the specificity is on the output and what you're going to get. But that's going to help you deconstruct your offer, identify and rank various ICP segments and suggest them for you, build detailed and actionable buyer profiles, and also just give you a targeted sequencing strategy there. So I mean, it's very detailed. I think William David said that he checked it out. He loves that, and it's been very helpful for many who have used that. Okay, so that's how I would all start with the content pillars. Mark is what you asked, and then that's also how I would develop the your ICP further, anonymous. Mm, okay, questions are still coming in. This is great. Now, which okay, we're just let me see. Okay, Rajesh asked, which is better, a company page or a self? We are talking about the personal profile. So I think the example we had up there was, Harold's profile, my profile. That's what people are going to respond to. They want to interact with an individual, not with a company page. So when you're posting, post from that person's profile, not from the company's. Let's see.
I'm just stopping the share because
Um,
I saw I changed to the wrong link on the slideshow.
okay. No
Yeah.
worries. And okay, next one also from Rajesh. My visibility is more towards Asia, whereas my ICP is in the US. How would I increase my visibility into the US? What I would say is just like the example that Harold showed earlier, it doesn't really matter where your current contacts are. I would say it's going to matter more like what time are you posting? Are you posting when the US is the busiest, or are you posting more when Asia hours is the busiest? That's going to be the first. And then also just making sure that, of course, the language is in English. And then also, if you're speaking to their pain points, then it's going to be, and it's valuable information that you're offering is going to be picked up in the US because that's the most people that are on LinkedIn anyway. So that's what I would say. I would say, number one, check your hours and see what you're posting if you're already implementing the other two strategies. Okay, let me read this one out. Javier says, I already work with ICPs and particular verticals where our products are used. Okay, so I'm guessing he has case studies. I post daily. 3 weeks now, you've posted daily, and you have the impression that your followers aren't seeing it. Okay, I'm not pulling up your LinkedIn profile now, but what I would say is you have to go back to those layers that we talked about. So four-prong approach is let's see, are you calling out the ICP in that? Like the example I had was founders, solo marketers. We're going ahead and calling it out so people know that it's for them. You're solving a problem through the post. Actually, I think I pulled up your profile, Javier, and I would also change the images that you use look like it's just a company image. I would also change it to be something else that isn't back to your brand, but just is something that's going to offer value to your particular ICP and more targeted towards them and their problem rather than look at how great we can do this, because I think the image is also telling a certain story rather than just the text that you're using. You can post daily. There's no harm in posting daily. I wouldn't say that that's too much. Our best practice internally is 3 times per week. Um, but I think that it's more about the positioning that you have within your post rather than the the frequency. Okay, best number per week. Just answer that 3 times a week. Uh, any issues with Lead Shark, Get Sales, with LinkedIn being uh getting your account banned? Okay. There isn't anything with anti-AI on that, so but I think that it just goes into your skepticism, Julia, with AI potentially being banned. So the way that we've used Lead Shark and Get Sales, we've never been banned. What I would say are there's some things to look at. One is typical posting times, and you can do this within the settings of their software, is post within the hours and times that you are usually active and set that up in the settings. Another thing is checking out the proxy and making sure that the location is matched, and then not maxing out. So there is a slider where you can max certain things out, like the connections, the comments. And we never max it out. And that's a way that you stay within the limits, you following their policy. The other thing with Lead Shark and Get Sales and why it's not being banned is you're not sharing your private LinkedIn credentials with other people. And so you're staying within LinkedIn's privacy policy, which they like. So as long as you're checking out those things, we haven't had any issues. And you can use Lead Shark and Get Sales, and that we're not taking a cut from that if you just go out and check that out. Because I know, Julia, you asked if we are affiliated. We do partner with them. So if you do our Done For You platform, we will go ahead and cover the costs of the subscriptions. It's just that we've tried all of them. They work the best, and we have a really strong relationship. And so whenever we give them feedback on how to improve the product, they take that right away and improve it. And we've seen the best results with those two. So that's why we continue to recommend them, because we have tried the other ones. Mm, okay. I'm not sure what Mark means by pain or gain. I think that he's maybe talking about, do I talk
The
about the
post
pain,
angle.
the post angle? Yeah. Okay. And I would say you want to talk about both. You start, your hook is with the pain, and then the gain is how you can help with that. Like the example we had was, talking to solo marketers without a content team. That's the pain, right? And that was the hook. And then the gain is use this ChatGPT project that I just built over the weekend. That would be the gain to help create the content team and get particular output. So I would say hook, pain, and then the gain is how you solve it and why they're going to take the call to action and download that particular resource. Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm gonna just jump around here. Mm, okay. Tagging others in LinkedIn posts. We sometimes tag our partners, or like the posts that I tag Harold. So it's yeah, I we typically have maybe one other person who's tagged in it. I wouldn't tag, like, I don't know, more than two. What would you say about tagging Harold and best practices? I guess it depends on why they're tagging, if it's a company or a person. I'm not sure
Yeah.
where
It's
Nate's question is coming from.
yeah, the general thing is the reason why you want to do tagging is because that plays to the audience of the other person. So if you tag someone, the way we've done that is that we built a full-on say secondary promotion and content team in Bureau, where if you just post from your profiles, you're going to reach the people that your profile can reach. What we've ended up doing is that we built the system so that we can have anyone, really, like all of you guys here on this webinar as well, could post our stuff and use that and piggyback on that to grow your profile. So we started doing the tagging of profiles because then we cast a wide net. We have this network of profiles that post things for Bureau. That is second-hand team. It's also the first-hand team, which are the people that work in Bureau. By doing that, what ends up happening is that you funnel the traffic and all the impressions back to the profile that you want to gain the most traction. So if you have a particular profile, and in this case, that should be you, and you have other profiles that you can post from, let's say you have a marketing team, you have a sales team, make those profiles post as well and make them link back to yours because then you get the biggest squeeze and the benefit from it. That is one way to look at it. So the question is not how to do it, it's why you do it, and that's the reason why you do it. There are ways of doing it, but the key thing is you want to keep it to one because otherwise it's like, okay, but where should I click? You can also tag your company in your profile saying, we've created this resource, or in 2025, Bureau, tag the company, was able to do this. So, and then you go through the thing, and then you want it to be sent over on DM. One, follow and connect with me and Lindsay on LinkedIn, and we're going to send it over on DM to you. So that's typically how you would do it.
Yeah. Let's see. Um, okay. I'm just gonna mark that one as done. Do you want to take Mohammed's question? He's asked, Harold, do
Oh
you
yeah.
recommend tools like Walaxy for LinkedIn outreach? Thank you. More experience.
Um, I do have a Woluxy, and I used Woluxy for a year until I found HeyReach, and then I found GetSales. So, and this is also addressing a couple of questions, or the one of the questions that you had, Julia, going back as well in terms of not getting banned. I've run automations with automation tools like Woluxy, GetSales, HeyReach, and a lot of other tools back since 2016, 17. I've never gotten banned because you need to respect the policy of LinkedIn, which is you don't need to spam. And imagine that your profile has a volume of activity and then you suddenly spike. That's a big red flag. So for Woluxy, to go to your question, Mohammed, I would not recommend Woluxy any day of the week over GetSales. And the reason for that is it's very limited to the campaign builder. You have limited connectivity to other systems, and you're more prone to banning because of a proxy setting. Because when a automation tool connects your profile, it should be connecting from your location. It should not connect from the US. If a tool connects to my profile from the US, that is going to tell LinkedIn that, hey, there might be a breach of access here. So Wolox is good, but it doesn't do the same things as GetSales. And I know I'm touting the horn of GetSales, but there's a reason because it's the most integrated, most versatile, most flexible that I've ever used. I've used probably like 15 different LinkedIn automation tools for outreach. And that is the one that has come out on top. It's not HeyReach, which is in the win. It's not Woluxy. It's not Lemlist. It's not La Growth Machine. It's GetSales. And their support is phenomenal. Like they're really amazing guys. Like I've given feedback to you should build this feature, and they built it. And it's the same with LeadShark. LeadShark is built for the purpose and the strategy that we've revealed in this webinar. So you can use Woluxy, but you know that you will lose out on a bit of connectivity, integrations, and flexibility in terms of how you structure your campaigns.
Mhm. Mm. Okay, I want to answer this question next. What type of resources are you referring to when you say 10 resources is enough for the set it and forget it? Those could be things like guides, how to set something up. It can be a case study. It can be a video walking through and teaching someone this. The important thing is that they get value from it, as much output as possible for them, takeaways. and then it's helping answer one of their problems so that you're demonstrating your expertise in a way that uses their language and shows that you have the capability to help them with their particular pain set. Mm, Tony asks about using this system for trades. Um, Maybe you have more thoughts here, Harold, on how this would apply to carpenters, electrician, general builders.
Yeah. So LinkedIn is not the platform for that audience, but the entire content system and engine behind it still remains the same. The way like you can do it for those audiences, but the thing that dictates LinkedIn or something else is what platform are you able to reach them on? So how many carpenters or electricians or general builders or any sort of brick and mortar type of service company are able to find on LinkedIn? If you're able to find them, you can run outbound to them and then you can run it as usual, but not necessarily posting. But still the resources, still the emails, and still the ads. So it's just that the way you would engineer and orchestrate the setup would be a bit different. If you don't find them on LinkedIn, there are other ways of finding them. And this is where you either go into the category of outbound on other social media platforms, running paid ads to generate the leads from other platforms, or sending cold emails in some cases. And this is where it's a bit case by case. And also, when we run this for companies, we would potentially run different things catered to the different segments, but it's a bit of a case by case difference. But the thing, Tony, is you always need to have the back end nurture for leads. And that could be carpenters, it could be head of big banks, it could be manufacturing, it doesn't really matter. The engine behind is still the same. I hope that answered your question.
Mark asks, is it worth starting a forum page to address a specific topic? Mm, I don't have much thoughts. I haven't seen forum pages working well through LinkedIn. Do you have anything you wanted to add to Mark's question, Carl?
So forum page, the question is what's the page like? So the thing is, so it depends on the strategy. If you have different topics that you don't want to talk about yourself because that might be distracting to things, that is one case where I see this be potentially um, a thing to go with. But usually you can't have two profiles on LinkedIn because you ID verify with your password for one and it's going to be linked to that. So the second one you try to create is going to get banned or disabled or removed. If you start posting things from a page, so basically a company page, people don't really give a damn. People don't really follow too much of companies. So it's, I wouldn't necessarily say that it makes sense. What I rather would do is I would identify your content pillars. For example, I can cater my content pillars to AI marketing and sales. I could also do entrepreneurship, growth, and systems. So I can change the core 3 to 5 categories and pillars that I create content under. So there are ways of doing it, but I don't really see the big benefit in creating a dedicated page for it because how would people get to that page? If you don't get people to it, it becomes just an asset that just sits there without any attention.
Mm. Any any other questions that we missed or came through?
We just got one other one from Tony. So what should one budget for the cost of running a complete system? So it depends on what you want to go with. So if you want to just do this yourself, there are two pieces to it. You have the software cost and you have the retargeting ad cost. So the software cost would be, depending on how you would do it, if you just do outbound, it would be GetSales and Encharge, which is the email system that is to be used. If you do inbound or posting as well, you need to add LeadShark. Those three combined typically come around like $200 to $250 a month. And it scales with, okay, how many profiles you want to run it with and how big of an email list you end up building. For ads, we usually say $5 a day. That's what you need. If you run ads to generate leads and not just nurture and retarget the leads that you get through content and outbound, then you obviously would need more. So those combined is $400 a month, and you would have the whole technical package. If you were to do the done for you with us, we would cover the software costs. That's built into our pricing. And the money for the budget for ads, the 150, would come out of your pocket. And the way that we see this is that we looked a lot about, okay, how can we create something that ensures that it's something that is cost efficient, but also something that is cheaper than anything else. So when we work with companies in the done for you fashion, we're not going to reveal the price here. And the reason for it is a couple of things. One, we don't know what system is best for you. But two, what I can promise you is that the entire thing we are doing is cheaper than any singular sort of system. And the reason is because we've built the entire system to support this. We don't have a lot of, let's say, labor to it. We've taken the expertise we have and built a system. So you have people charging 4 to 7 grand for just cold email. You have people charging 2 to 7 grand for just posting and lead management on LinkedIn. You have people charging for booking systems, for pages, for ads. We're not charging any of those combined, and we're doing all of them. That is what I'm going to say. But what is going to be right for you is something that depends on your case. So whether that be do it yourself or whether that be done for you. So you need to book a call to find the price. What I'm going to tell you is that it's probably going to be less than what you expect of the entire system. So Mohammed, you asked the question. I'm just going to shoot in and answer this, Lindsay. If a startup
Yep.
is low on investment regarding the ads and lead searching, do you have a solution for them getting leads through LinkedIn? Actually, funny thing you ask, we have a Chrome extension that you can download that allows you to, if you do a search for contacts on LinkedIn, it's going to export the profiles for you. I'm just thinking if that is something that I can share here now. Let me see if I can find the link for that. I can drop that in the chat, Mohammed. But that's one thing that you can just go ahead and use that now.
Well, we still have 25 attendees. If you guys have some questions while Harold looks for that, I do think we're gonna jump off soon. But yeah, you guys are sticking around for value. So yeah, I see Tony said cheers. Thanks, Tony. Thanks for joining. And but yeah, we have a minute or two while he's taking a look. So if you have some more questions or some more thoughts, I okay, yeah. Thanks, Nate. Thanks for booking a call. I saw William David. Thanks for booking a call. I know I saw Sanjeev on here. I look forward to talking to you in May, Sanjeev. And yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for
I just
joining.
dropped the link in the chat now for the 2 extensions. So the way that you do that, those are in our Google Drives. You basically download that and then you upload that to your Chrome extensions when you enable developer mode. So if you don't find this, just ask ChatGPT, you have a file of an extension and you want to install it. You can use those for both the normal LinkedIn search, but also the Sales Navigator search. It goes one page at a time, so it takes more time, but that was one of the things that we were able to do without building a full-on system for LinkedIn for that specifically. So hopefully that's useful to you, Mohammed. One final thing I'm going to say. So there's a lot of you guys still sticking around, as Lindsay said. It's only those that book a call while we are live that if you decide to go with us and we're building and running this for you, or the do-it-yourself is the right thing, it's only those that book during the call that is viable for the 2 times. I'm just saying that because, again, you wanted to book a call because you really don't have anything close. You're here for a reason. Like, you've stuck around for 1 hour and 45 minutes. There is a reason for it. You want something. We believe we can help you. So you got a question directed to you, Lindsay.
Oh, thanks, Tony. Yeah. Yeah, believe it or not, I hit the big 4-0 last week. So, but thanks, I'll take the compliment.
Mm, yeah, it's right, Tony. Yeah, I did not think that myself when she joined the team either. So yeah, someone has the genes.
Mm.
If we can put it that way. Um, does any one of you have any other questions while we're still on? Now is the time to ask it because in 5 minutes, if we have no other, or just a couple of minutes really, if no one has any other question, we're going to pull the plug. We're going to say thank you for showing up, and then I'm going to wrap up. So if you have any questions, now's the time to ask it.
Yes, Rob and a few others did ask us. We are sharing the recording. So just go to the link where Harold posted the bonuses, and that is where we're going to share the recording to today's webinar as well.
Okay.
So, and yeah, so.
Oh, we got a question.
Oh, in Q&A. Okay.
Yeah, in
Oops.
Q&A. So
I'll look
anonymous,
back
so
up.
I don't know who is asking this, so I can't address you by name. How would you modify this for selling insurance to investors? It's B2C, but high trust product vertical that feels like B2B. So basically, insurance to people that are like accredited investors or something. I'm gonna just take it in general investors. So if I had budget for ads, I would probably look at ads, but I would look first at basically extract taking a search on LinkedIn in Sales Navigator is what I probably would use because we have that. Find as many investors as you can that are, let's say, within the realm of what you're looking for. Then what I would do is that I would probably export them out of LinkedIn, just to have them separate in a CSV file or an Excel file that you own. And what I would then do is that I would run outbound to them on LinkedIn. So basically connecting with them to like knock the door, maybe provide them with something that is valuable to them, so some sort of resource. I would also, if I had budget for ads, I would look at okay, how to run paid ads towards that audience. There are two ways you can do that. Platform independent, so both LinkedIn and Facebook or Meta. I would one, take that list, upload that list of the exported list up to both platforms and run an ad towards those. And that would be running two types of ads for generating leads. It would be running to, if you have 10 resources, run it to a landing page for each of those 10. So you would have 10 different campaigns. So this is a lot, but you asked me and I'm going to go batshit crazy on this. The second way I would do it is I would create something called a VSL. So that's basically a video sales letter. It's basically a 5 to 15-minute video of you explaining the methodology and the opportunity that you're presenting to investors and the insurance that you're selling. And the video is meant to book a call. So by that, the optimization of that second type of ad campaign would be to get people to book a call. What we do see there across different verticals and industries is that you should aim for a price between probably like $100 to $200, $300 a meeting that you book. So then you would need to look at, okay, what's your unit economics? How much do you close? How many show up? Because you will have a no-show rate. How many do you end up converting? What's the price? What's the value per client? And that's when you get the calculation to see, is this something that makes sense ahead of time to do in that way or not? So I can't really speak to how much you sell it for, what the client is worth, the monthly liquidity or cash flow of every single client, and also if you should run on Meta, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or how you should do it particularly, because I don't know the nuances of it. But that is probably what I would do. The back end of it, so the emails, cold, warm, and hot, running an end charge, running retargeting ads for $150 a day, I would still do that. That still remains the same, but it's a lead generation mechanism that potentially would need some change. So hopefully that answered your question for that. You who still remain anonymous.
Last thing I will just say is earlier in the chat, Sanjeev asked, what's an example of a boring niche that worked with this system? I mean, I don't think any of the ones we had are boring per se, but maybe atypical in terms of viral content. And that would be probably Mitch Petraka, in which he has a CPA to CPA service. So, speaking to accountants about those services, and he was able to use this system because, and what worked is he created valuable content specifically addressing the CPA problems, and it took off. So that would maybe be, you wouldn't associate that with viral content, but this formula worked well in practice with Mitch.
Alrighty. Seems like we don't have any other questions then. It seems like we've come to the end of this lovely webinar that now has gone on for 1 hour and 15 minutes. So you guys still sticking around. Hopefully you're just not idling around, just having this open, but we never know. But hopefully you guys found value in this, that you learned something, you got a bit of a different perspective on how to approach LinkedIn. And yeah, okay, so some of you are commenting, so you're not just idling here and just having gone from your computer. We hope that you learned something. We hope that you are now looking at LinkedIn a bit differently than what everyone else talks about it, or what you started with when you entered and joined this webinar, and that you now have a bit of the bits and pieces that you can go off on. And again, if you go to the link as well, you can schedule a call with Lindsay and see how we can help you. And with that, the final thing I can say at this point, and you can decide what you want to say as well after that, Lindsay, is thank you so much for joining. And this, I wish you a great rest of your day, either if you're in the States, if you're in Europe, or if you're somewhere in Asia.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you all for engaging. And I just urge you to take one thing from today and put it into action, because even though many of you were on for over an hour, if you don't put it into practice, then you gain nothing. So please put at least one thing, and then let me know on LinkedIn what you put into practice and how it worked for you.
Then with that, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining. And we wish you a great rest of your day and week. Bye-bye.